As Clay mentioned, I spent 9 years of service in the Marine Corps. In 2004, I nearly lost my right leg to a wound that became infected. It actually wasn't a combat injury, and I thought it was relatively minor. But untreated, I nearly lost my leg. Fortunately, I was young, otherwise healthy, and well insured since I was on active duty. In another circumstance, I may have lost my leg. Hello, I'm Eric Fry, founder and CEO of Mednoxa, an early-stage wound care startup commercializing what we believe is the future of wound care and using the power of oxygen to improve healing outcomes on acute and chronic wounds. Because wound healing affects us all in a huge variety of ways. Sometimes it's cosmetic outcomes, other times it is literally a matter of life and limb, as is the case with diabetes. Diabetes is the leading cause of non-traumatic amputation. In fact, globally, every 30 seconds a limb is lost to diabetes. The crazy thing to me is that these amputations are up to 85% preventable with early detection and proper treatment. But there is a key ingredient that's generally missing, and that's oxygen. It's needed for the body's healing responses no matter what kind of wound. And in a diabetic, as a result of circulatory impairment, lower extremities simply don't get enough oxygen. Our solution is a patented oxygen generation and delivery bandage that was developed at the ZIE Biomedical Microdevices Laboratory and licensed by Mednoxa from the Purdue Research Foundation. We have a global exclusive license on this IP, and it's very novel in that it's simple but complex. It's a cheap solution to a huge problem. It works by the chemical decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. Oxygen flows out to the wound to promote healing, while the water and any remaining peroxide are contained internally. The fluid never touches the wound, but healing can occur. We have two product variations that we're in the final design stages of that are based on this IP. They differentiate only in how much oxygen is produced and for how long, and the claims that we will or won't make on each one. So we're pursuing different regulatory strategies for each. With both of them, though, we're positioning Mednoxa at the intersection of several large wound care segments. Diabetic ulcers is certainly one, but we have a great overlap and cost advantage that allow us to have influence in other markets. To consider how this works in the competitive landscape, think of your own experience with a wound and what the process is like. There's generally easy over-the-counter options that are available, and you kind of do the best you can, but if the wound fails to heal, you end up with an infection. Now you're going forward in time and up a level to see a provider, getting antibiotics, advanced bandages that maybe contain silver or iodine. If you still don't heal, you go up another level to hyperbaric oxygen therapy. It's developed for dive medicine and is questionable efficacy, but it's the leading treatment right now. You spend an hour a day, 5 days a week for 6 to 9 months in a cylinder of pressurized oxygen that's effectively a bomb, breathing gas at what's a toxic level. And you have questionable results, so it's likely you're still going to end up on the surgeon's table suffering an amputation. At Mednoxa, we try to view things differently by combining a bandage with an advanced oxygen therapy, bringing that advanced treatment down a level and earlier in time, while allowing for the body's natural healing response. This also puts us at the intersection of all the key benefits and needs required for proper healing. And is supported by the recent CMS Centers for Medicaid Medicare Services decision memo that opened the door for reimbursement of topical oxygen on chronic wounds. And thanks to our cost advantage in our manufacturing process and our IP, we have the ability to be the first and only oxygenation bandage that has an over-the-counter variant that's available for acute wound care. We intend to sell to independent primary care physicians, podiatrists, and early adopter wound clinic doctors. And Amazon and Jet.com are actually great channels to reach these providers as they're not affiliated with the typical group purchasing organization. We'll also use boutique pharmacies as our customer-facing approach. These pharmacies, like these leading Central Texas ones, are used to selling specialty medical devices and have great relationships with providers as well as their customers. So as we transition out of health wildcatters, we have made great progress and we have big goals ahead of us. We're working towards a design freeze at the end of the year on both products, transitioning into sterilization and validation testing, as well as our regulatory submissions. We'll be establishing a manufacturing capability, launching the first product, and then once we get FDA 510K clearance, launch the second product. Meanwhile, we're developing clinical champions who can help guide and sponsor our clinical studies so we can prove efficacy out against the competition and the standard of care, and also against the mountain of topical oxygen research that's out there. With that, we can expand our sales and distribution channels into larger hospitals and wound clinics, as well as retail, all driving towards acquisition by a major player in the space. You heard quite a bit about my background. I'd like to introduce Evan Skowronski, our Chief Scientific Officer, PhD microbiologist, has a particular interest in infection. And he is very close to this as well, as he had to watch as his diabetic father-in-law underwent 8 separate amputations as they took both his legs piece by piece by piece. So wound care is definitely personal for us. Babak and Manny are the inventors and engineers out of Purdue, and Dr. Ron Scott founded the first wound clinic in North Texas, just up the road in Plano. We're driving towards manufacturing, sales and marketing, and proving out our efficacy, as well as regulatory submissions. And we would love your help and support as we do that. I'm eager to be in front of you all. Health Wildcatters has been a great program, and I hope I get the opportunity to talk to you. Till then, remember that topical oxygen works. Diabetes is the leading cause of non-traumatic ulcers, and Mednoxa plans to reinvent healing. Thank you.